Hi, this is Patrick Hunt here. It's almost the middle of April now, and what I wanted to just talk a little bit about was how you can limit or reduce the speed that grasses like scutch get into your raised bed. So this is my raised bed area here, and I started off by putting cardboard down on the ground, and then putting timber frames on top of the cardboard, and then wetting it, and then adding in a mixture of soil compost and manure and planting into that. And over the years what I've done is I filled in what were grass pats, because it's quite awkward to mow around these beds. So I filled it in with more cardboard and wood chips on top. But then surrounding the whole perimeter of the vegetable plot, I had an idea last year. It was to do with how to create a barrier, a cheap barrier, because we rent a house. So I came up with this idea of using a DPC tray. These are DPC liners. You can get them 10 centimeters deep, or you can get them even 20 centimeters deep. This is a shallow one. You can get them a little bit thicker. And what I did was I dug a channel all the way around the perimeter of the raised bed garden, or the annual vegetable garden, and it was about that wide. It was 15-20 centimeters wide, the width of a spade, and about that deep. And I filled it with sand. But before I filled it, you won't see it now, but underneath here I've put in a layer of this. This is this tray, and for €5 in a hardware store I went around the whole perimeter of this, and I used a little bit over a roll. A roll is 30 meters, to enclose this. And what it's meant is that now the scotch grass cannot run into the bed, but what it does tend to do is it tends to come across the surface a little bit. And the beauty of it is where it does come in, you can by hand just pull it and control the roots like that, because the beauty of having the sand is that the roots have very little resistance to being pulled out. They do develop quite fibrous roots, all right, but you can control it very easily just by pulling them out like that, and then just pulling it back to where you want it again. And I was finding without that in the last few years that you typically get scutches coming up under here and up on the inside of the bed. So a little tip is to dig a little trench around the perimeter of your vegetable beds, and then to line it with something like a DPC tray, and then backfill it with this sand, and it will mean anything that grows in there, it's very easy to pop it out. And the beauty of that then is when I come to maintain it, I take the mower and I can put the wheel of the mower on this and just mow straight along. And while there's a little bit of maintenance, it's not half what it was when I didn't have this and the scutch was coming in underneath. So just around the perimeter of the bed, maybe think about sinking something like that. And it's a cheap alternative when you're renting a place. If I owned the place, I'd invest in a proper system. I'd probably put in something like Corten steel or something to create a proper root barrier to prevent scutches and grasses from creeping into the area where I'm controlling the annual vegetable beds, because if you get these scutches and grasses in, you're just going to be forever pulling them out. And then just a little update then on the vegetable beds. The entire garden has been planted up at this stage. So we've planted the first phase of early plants for the season, early vegetables. There's literally nowhere in the garden, in this vegetable plot, that hasn't been planted up. The main crop potatoes went in yesterday. With the early potatoes gone in, every other bed is either covered over because there's a seedlings underneath, or they're uncovered, where we've the likes of spinaches and beetroots and all sorts of things there. And as you can see, in this bed here, these were the lettuces we transplanted there last week, and they're doing very well. So this front section is all lettuces, and I'll leave these. I'll just roll it back to show, but I'll leave these fleeces on until probably next month. But yeah, at this stage now, you could have your garden entirely planted up, and what will happen then is, as the first crop comes out, other crops will go in. So I'm actually not sowing a lot at the moment. Most of the big sowing has been done for this early part of the year, but towards the end of this month and in early May, I'll be sowing things like sweet corn. On the windowsills then I have the courgettes and pumpkins and things like that. But the next sowing will be for things like kales and purple sprouting broccoli, but that won't be until later in the season. But for now, it's fully planted up. Even though it might look bare in places, there's things under the ground that are about to come up. So yeah, so thank you very much.